Now, once you have all of this set up, getting Firebase into your application is actually not that hard. But first we need an application to put it into. So I am going to mkdir react day 6, which I've already done. And then I'm going to cd into react day 6. And I'm going to npx create react app upper line, the upper line project is what I'm calling mine. You can call yours whatever you want. And we will wait for it to create the application. Now again, npx create react app always takes a little bit of time. So let it do its thing, and we'll come back to it in a second as soon as that is done. So my React app is finished building. This is nice. It tells me cd into the upper line project, which I do. And it tells me to run npm start, which I do. And we let it run for a second. And as soon as we see it start the development server, nope, maybe it doesn't. Oh, maybe it does. Either way, there we go. We preview it. And we see this lovely little application right here, which looks great, and we know we are ready to start developing. And inside the src folder in our upperline project, there is an app.js file. We see the app.js file. There it is. Let's put that on half of it. Lovely. So there's our whole app. There's the code that makes our app. Everything looks right. The next step is to include Firebase in our application. To include Firebase in our application, we're going to want to create a folder in the src directory called services. So I'm going to create a new folder called services. And inside there, I'm going to create a file called firebase.js. Just like that. Open it up because we're going to work in this firebase.js file. Now, if in this firebase.js file, we want to use Firebase, which means we're going to have to import Firebase from Firebase, something like this. But the problem is that we haven't, if we look at our package.json, Firebase isn't included in our dependencies right there. So the reason why we npm install stuff is so that it can be added to the dependencies file here, so that every time we run npm install, it'll add those dependencies into the node modules folder. And so some of you are asking why we don't have to npm install when we run npx create react app. And that's because it installs all the proper node modules from whatever is inside the dependencies here in your package.json. Now if you stop this server by pressing Control-C and you run npm install --save Firebase, what it will do is it will add the Firebase dependency to your project right here. So if you say npm install --save Firebase and hit enter, it should look like this. It should take a second. It should go find all of the Firebase dependencies we need, and then it should update your package.json with the proper information. And so if we wait for it to load, we give it a second, it does its thing, it finds all that great information for us, installs all the code, and puts it inside our node modules folder. It takes a really long time, and bam, what did you notice is different about my dependencies now? What does it include that it didn't include before? Firebase. What version of Firebase?
6.4.
6.4.0. Now, if you go back to our Firebase project, you'll notice that if we were to include a script at the top of our file, it would include Firebase 6.4.0. And so this is exactly what the node modules is doing. Instead of including the script at the top of our file, it just installed all the stuff this script would have installed for us. What we do need, however, is this information right there. So go ahead and grab all of that information right there, copy it, and go put it in your firebase.js file. So all of this information is your Firebase config. You're going to save all of it, everything that's inside this bottom script here. You're going to grab all of that, and you're going to head back to your firebase.js project, and you're going to throw it in right here. Cool. Now what this is all of the information that distinctly separates your project. So in this case, your project will have different information here. It'll have a different API key. It'll have a different auth domain. It'll have a different database URL. It'll have a different project ID, storage bucket, message sender ID, and app ID. Is that cool with everybody?
Did you create a services folder?
I did create a services
And then
folder
in there
and a
you
Firebase.
created- okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was running around.
No, you're fine. Great,
Yeah.
good question. And so if you do all this and all this stuff right here, you should now have imported Firebase into your project. Now I'm going to update a few things. Oh, something wrong with yours? Okay, cool. Let me come help you fix it in a second. The only thing I want to update here is I want to change this var to const, and I'm going to delete these semicolons because I don't use them. Just I don't like them. They make me sad. And I'm also going to change this up here to where it says Firebase. I'm going to change it to Firebase/app. And I'm going to import auth from Firebase/auth. And I think you just import DB from Firebase/DB. Now all of these things right here, I actually think I'm going to change this. I don't exactly remember how this works. I'll look it up in the documentation in a second. But I'm pretty sure that's everything you need to do to set up your Firebase app. I mean, there's a few other things. We're going to export some information here. But this is how you get Firebase into your project. And so I'll come around and help you with your errors if you have any right now.